Virtus Pro versus Team Secret. Game 2.
As the man says, game 2, draft is underway. So I'm going to stay with us, take us through the draft with the guys, Wagger and Malini, and of course Pyrion.
Yeah, I'll shut up then, okay. Right. Incoming Reddit thread, Swindlemelon's just the best desk guest I've ever had, he should go in every time, guaranteed.
That's only because the competition's so low.
Whoa! He fits in, the shots!
I mean, Red Eye just sets the bar so low. I don't know.
I have a question for you. As a resident pause expert, how did the pause affect you during the game?
Oh, I mean, it was no big deal. I mean, we had just lost a series the other... I was playing the same hero in the same situation, and then we lost. It wasn't fun. It's not the reason we lost. And
I mean, but you can't like focus on Dota because you can't look at your screen. You know,
yeah,
the crowds around you.
In retrospect, I should have said, you know, just leave. No, like drag me out of the booth. I'm sitting here, like in the game. You can take them away. We're staying here, but oh well. Water under the bridge. Draft.
Yeah, 4 picks already. Fairly standard so far.
Very quick picks as well. So Lina was the first pick.
Quick.
Queen of Pain Darkseer reaction picks, and then of course Shaker. Just a great combo with Lina and a Deny against this Darkseer as well. These teams really know what they want. That was super quick first phase.
You guys actually utilized Darkseer a lot in the group stage. Do you think that other teams undervalued him at that stage of the international?
I actually think we might have undervalued him as well. I mean, we picked him, but we were consistently getting him 3rd, 4th pick, and I believe just now, and specifically, was it the EG eHome series? I think eHome first to Darkseer twice, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got a lot of counters, but one of the main ways people used to deal with him was to pick a support like Bane or CM with like a Bloodseeker. And he actually can't lane at all, specifically against Bane, but those heroes have kind of fallen out of favor, and he's just kind of sitting in the off lane throwing ion shells, getting a lot more than most other off laners.
We even saw in one game, I think it was here at the main stage, where we saw Skywrath being picked once, and it was purely reactive to a Darkseer as well. I mean, Skywrath, not the hero of this patch, but it can be good in some scenarios. Harassing a Darkseer is super important. Yeah. If he gets the levels, he can take over.
It's funny because in the meta, there's so many different just heroes. So Skywrath is great, but you know, then they're running a Spear Breaker with the Darkseer, and you're very grim life after that.
Exactly, it can definitely backfire. You don't want to have squishy heroes in general in this meta. That's why we see so much Tusk, Darkseer, Spirit Breaker, tanky heroes in general.
Yeah, but that's why most teams, specifically EG, I think they opened actually Lina, Shaker, Dazzle yesterday. And it's really hard to sort of discern where they're going with the draft. Secret's one of the, if not the only team that's really confident. They'll just pick their 3 cores right off the bat. You know exactly what they're going to do, but it's just a rather well-rounded and reasoned draft so that it makes sense and they can't really get trapped like other teams will. And that's really, personally as a drafter, what I fear when you're early picking all your cores is you don't really have the same versatility anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's always the decision as well as a drafter, if you want to show your course or if you want to, you know, wait with that and pick up the supports first. But sometimes showing a few supports and your core is that's gonna reveal more to what you're actually doing. Sometimes you see the course, but you don't really know what's gonna be roaming around. If it's gonna be a defensive combo of supports or aggressive.
There you have it, the 3rd pick Luna. So
yep.
you know what they're doing. Straight off the bat. I'm surprised they're still going to the Luna. And I'm also a little disappointed we didn't pick the hero because it's Han bread and butter right there, man.
I think early game Luna can suffer a little bit to mid Lina. It really comes and just, you know, drops the Laguna on you and you can die so quickly, which is dangerous for Luna's ultimate. You want to have a long, nice ulti to drop out.
It's just, it really works with the way Secret's trying to play this game. I mean, you can already look, their team fight's going to just be absolutely massive. I expect them to just pick probably a defensive support for Puppey as he's known to play, and who knows with Kuro. I think Rubik and Wyvern both banned. He's played both of those heroes with a lot of success this tournament, so I don't have any predictions just yet. And I'm also, who knows what VP is going to do. I don't really know what traditionally is good against Luna other than, as you said, just
Chaos Knight.
Chaos Knight?
They really like the Chaos Knight.
I like that.
I've seen them pick it versus like some weaker carries like Anti-Mage, but they don't really have good wave clear. I don't know. I have a hunch.
Yeah.
They could maybe do it. I mean, that would be a very VP thing to do. Other heroes that counter Luna is like old stuff like Void, but it's not in the meta at all. And it's so hard to run.
His ultimate's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so hard to use him.
It's really not. is really not enough. And that along with the fact that he doesn't have wave clear, because right now it's so much about fighting early on. Even the carry will run right into the enemy team and fight. So you need to be really quick at farming when you're doing that, else your lanes are just gonna pressure you.
I actually, CK looks amazing if you think about it right now. I mean, I think it's a little tough against Darkseer in lane, but he kills every hero that Secret's picked thus far.
He's ready to fight super early too, right?
So how do you counter Darkseer in team fights? We've seen Darkseer picked up in first phase, but it seems like, yeah, you can win against them in lane, but you'll never be able to stop the vacuum wall, especially with BKB being a lot less prevalent. And I think that's like a huge problem with playing against the Darkseer. And Shaker's like decent, but if he gets caught in the vacuum, like your whole team's dead.
For the most part, it's kind of tough. It's one of those heroes you don't really. I don't think there's a de facto hero that you see a Darkseer, you go with something else. It's sort of like a Shaker with the exception of Rubik. Visage pickup, I like it.
That Visage is very VP style, so that gives the possibility for a very strong tri-lane if you want to do that. And CK fits the bill there because you have a slow, you have the nuke from Visage after the initiation of CK. You could definitely bring down a Darkseer if he's alone.
Agreed. They don't, as we've said, they've already picked all of their cores, and they don't really have anything that's going to kill birds either. So that Visage I just like a lot, especially because the cores are so squishy. Getting off multiple soul assumptions in a fight, as you talked about, like a Lina Visage on a Fisher can actually just kill the Luna immediately. And it's just a lot of her. They can pretty much kill anything on Secret's lineup right now.
That Visage is actually the first at the main event, but the 7th overall. So not a huge amount of picks.
CDEC ran it, I think, 4 times.
Yeah, Q.
Stage.
Yeah.
When it comes to drafting for your team, how much of it would you say is you, and how much of it is the rest of your team, percentage based?
It varies team to team, I would imagine. For us personally, it's probably maybe 60% me, 30% Tal, and then 10% combined everybody else.
Shadow Shaman.
It's a pretty good mix.
Yeah. The thing is, like when you're like the drafter though, like the good ideas, you're like, nice, like that was awesome, I'm glad that worked. But if it doesn't work, it's still your fault because you picked it, so.
The utmost responsibility as the drafter, yeah. Again, we see the combination Luna and Shadow Shaman. That's such an old combo. Like we used to see it way back several years ago, just a pushing meta of Shadow Shaman wards and Luna. It makes for really fast games.
VP hasn't drafted like nearly as greedy as last game. Last game they had Medusa, Naga, and Magnetar. This game, none of those are really vulnerable to getting heavily pushed.
So I'm going to go back to the Luna pick, by the way, because we've been saying that.
Spirit.
Oh, hold on. The Luna pick was actually picked by ZYF of eHome first time at TI5, so he popularized it. Hal was just picking up on it afterwards, and RTZ after that. So I guess we got that one slightly wrong because we were crediting Hal with that breakthrough, but it was actually ZYF.
So we were both wrong, Ben. Welcome to the wrong club.
I'm curious to see whether this is going to be a mid-Storm Spirit or not, because as I learned yesterday, Quap against Storm is really no fun for the Storm player. And, I mean, he will have a Shaker backing him up, but it's still a really difficult matchup. And the Storm's going to be he can win or lose this game for VP at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Also, when they have, they have the Lina here, they could play that as a core or as a support. I think it's an easy job to play support along with the Visage, because you have the slow, easy to set up. It's definitely long enough to get your stun off. But I think a mid-storm is, as you said, it could be tough. It depends what you value. If you value your farm or if you value the levels. Because going solo mid, you always get the levels at least, and Storm can always work a little bit off that.
It's a little better on Radiant too, because you can stack your hard cam much more effectively. What I find so strange is that Tusk has become so devalued in the later stages of this upper bracket. I mean, it was just last banned by VP. That was a first pick of the game at ESL.
Oh, wow.
That's a big hero coming out from Secret.
That to me says VP need to punish the lanes. This is so greedy from Secret, and they need to make sure that the Luna suffers. Otherwise, if RTZ has a good game, I don't really see any way for VP to win this, because you can't really do much to a Darkseer or a Quap.
Your brother has had a couple of enigmas in this tournament. They're 100% as well. 3 picks out of the TR5 so far.
Wait, you're saying we've had all of them, or they've won every game?
No, you've won 2 with them. Yeah, Aoi picked up the other one.
Yeah, it's a
3 out of 3.
Really, really solid hero.
All right, thank you very much. Draft is done. We'll get into game 2 and we'll return to our commentary team.
Tournament life on the line here. Virtus Pro need to walk away with a win in this game number 2. I'm Capitalist. I'm joined by William Blitz Lee, the former mid player for Team Zephyr, who specializes in heroes such as Storm Spirit, and Storm Spirit. Luckily for Blitz, we have a Storm Spirit this game.
You really do. It's almost as if they knew. But G's going to be playing the Storm, and this is a kind of great Storm game. Like, he should do really well. I think against this type of lineup when he has this much backup. I was gonna say something mean, but your mom's here, so I can't really do that. Like, I gotta.
Thank you,
No,
Mom.
that wasn't one of those moments you guys go Owen. It was just meaning I was trying to be a nice guy for once.
Thank you, Mom.
That was not an insult.
From Blitz's flames.
Why are people acting as if I flamed you?
But talk about this. Storm Spirit, I mean, it's really good in conjunction with the Illidan silencer, right? Because when you're able to jump in, you have this sort of freedom with global sounds going off at the same time when you initiate. It gives you just this sort of fearless feeling when you go in.
I think my 2 favorite heroes to play with when you do play Storm is, one is Silencer, the other is Bounty Hunter. The Bounty Hunter is the hero that gives you the comeback gold, and it's not in this game, but the Silencer is so good just because you fear almost nothing. Even when BKBs are popped, you know that the supports are typically going to be the heroes that zone you out or lock you down the most, right? And that's reflected in Secret's lineup. You've got Puppey, who's playing the Enigma, a pretty greedy support. You've got Kuro playing the Shadow Shaman, another greedy support. So what's the likelihood that either of them get a BKB?
I mean, the Enigma at this point in time, like, item-wise, can he go straight for the BKB and leave Zai the early mech?
Probably should, but at the same time, it's still okay for the Storm to play against, because he can just play around that timing. It's really the Queen of Pain and what she decides to do that's going to determine a lot in this game. Like, if S4 decides to go for something like the Orchid first, it would be really good, but at the same time, like, I'm just thinking way ahead into the future. If S4 goes Orchid, then VP counters him by getting a Yules on their Lina and just blowing him up in every fight with Global Silence. So S4 probably has to go something like maybe the Sumail build, where he decides to go for the Yule Scepter early so he can continuously kite.
All right, starting off our laning phase here, we've got God on the Storm Spirit facing up against S4's Queen of Pain. FNG already going to lay some harassment down on the line. Our offlaner for VP is going to be DK Phobos playing the Earthshaker up against Team Secret's Kuro on the Shadow Shaman, and Arteezy playing the Luna. Puppey's going to be in the jungle as the Enigma. Their offlaner is Zai, who's playing the Darkseer up against Illidan Silencer and Lil's signature Visage. We haven't seen too much Visage in the main events, but can't get much better Visage player than Lil.
Yeah, I think it was Hanskin that said, if you look at Lil's Dota buff page, it's just Visage. Like, he's like the only person in the world besides AUI that enjoys playing Visage in pubs.
Yeah, most people spam some sort of like mid heroes such as Storm Spirit, but Lil actually goes for a lot of support Visage for some reason.
It's just a good hero.
Yep.
It's one of the heroes that it's incredibly versatile. It's just good against a lot of the heroes from Secret. It's almost going to be impossible for Puppey to hit the black hole if Lil is really good with the bats. And it's good against the Darkseer too, because you can just slow his momentum. Like, heroes that have instant escapes or abilities that need to cast, it's incredibly good against.
They're actually doing dual lanes right now. FNG has joined DK Phobos probably because of the greediness of the Team Secret supports. As you said, like, the Enigma's going to be full-time jungling here, maybe rotates over for a gank or two, but most of the time is there. And then Shadow Shaman, in battling scenarios here in 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, he's not particularly strong just because he is so squishy.
No, he's kind of bad. It's not just because he's squishy, but the initiation range on the hero is so incredibly short.
FNG, he actually lands that one. He's going to get close enough to land an extra right click. He actually grabs the haste rune and is going to try and do battle up against Kuro. He's trying to get to the safety of Puppey, but Puppey's like, not me, man. I don't want to be anywhere near that one. First blood does go to God.
Yeah, the reason why Puppey can't help him there in that situation is because what are you going to do? You've got 1 level of Midnight Pulse and 2 levels of Demonic Conversion. You don't even want to trade HP at that point. Just go back to your jungle, save time, but this is really going to help G in this mid lane. I think with the kill, it definitely puts him a lot further ahead of S4 when it comes to farm. But when it comes to levels, S4 is going to hit the level 6 sooner. So what I'd really like to see from G is, as soon as he hits level 5 and he's reasonably certain the Queen of Pain's a creep or 2 from hitting level 6, just rotate into jungle. There's no reason to contest the lane at that point. She's just going to out-level you. That's the nature of the matchup. It's not worth it to continue to contest.
Now Puppy, he does go for the early level of Midnight Pulse in order to better allow him to stack by clearing through trees, right? It allows you to very efficiently stack up neutral camps and maybe even set things up for Queen of Pain to join him later on and be a part of that experience.
Yeah, and the Enigma, I mean, he's doing a really good job of farming right now. He's level 4, he's about to hit level 5. He's keeping up when it comes to farming levels. This is what you expect out of Enigma. I think I ran into Puppy maybe 10 or 15 times in solo queue. Every single time it was the Enigma. Every single time he completely dominated the game and just led his team to a victory. And it was incredibly frustrating to play against him. Although this isn't a pub game, I mean, he's so good at finding the levels on the hero. Like, he's just done it so many times. There is a mechanical limit that you need to just play with to constantly push through.
Yeah, a good timing for Enigma is hitting level 5 by the minute 4, and he already has it. He's actually a good 30 seconds ahead of that. Kuro right now is actually trying to rotate into the middle lane right now. Trying to get behind G and catch him out, but that's just not going to happen. S4 playing pretty aggressively. Meanwhile, FNG trying to push back Puppy away from that top rune, but to back up the Eidolon, can't really challenge that jungler.
Yeah, as soon as S4 gets this top rune, I think G just backs up and runs. Go to the jungle right now. You know, you're not certain where S4 is when it comes to his level 6 timing, but you know that it's soon. So I don't think it's worth it unless FNG just decides to sit in this mid lane.
You also have the potential smoke being run out to Puppy as well. You know, as soon as he hits level 6, he's probably going to be looking for at least one gank to use that ultimate. So I like the idea a lot of just sitting back, farming up your neutrals. Bottom lane here, Zai, he's got the surge, so he should be fine here. They're going to get a lot of damage out from Lil's nuke. Oh, he didn't actually pop it in time. Seems like the nighttime vision cost Lil the opportunity there. Don't think it would have killed anyway, as it was only level 3 assumption, but would have brought Zai close.
Yeah, and if you notice that G's just abandoned this mid lane, he knows that S4 is level 6 now. There's no reason to contest the lane. I think he learned off of that CTY Sumail matchup where as soon as Sumail hits level 6, he just dives him. That's a really common thing to happen, and I think that was just CTY slipping up a little, but G's going to be smart about this. Guarantee that he gets level 6 so that the Queen of Pain can't just dive him and punish him and get just that additional level on him. He's going to get level 6 with that. Just roll back to base.
Oh, Kuro's been caught here. DK Phobos hits him with the Fissure, and they need another right click. Kuro saving his own life with the shackles, but he'll die eventually. DK Phobos is the one to secure the last hit and will be able to get himself not only the Tranquil Boots, but also the Soul Ring's going to be coming in soon for him. This really speeds up the farming time of the Earthshaker.
Yeah, now the Storm Spirit, this is the benefit. You go to the jungle, you TP top, you can bottle your offlaner once, and then they can dive Arteezy if he wants. He's not level 6 yet. They've got the Fissure available. They're just going to set this up real nicely.
Yeah, the chain stun's easily going to overwhelm a squishy hero like Arteezy on that Luna. So free pickoff, things going quite well. Much better for Virtus Pro than they did in game number 1.
Yeah, and G can just sit up here for a little bit. He can rotate to the jungle if he wants. There is an Eidolon just watching that top room because he wants to secure it for S4, but...
Illidan chose not to go for Global Silence here at level 6, instead went for the extra kill power of a level in Last Word, or maybe the Blaze of Wisdom, not sure which he leveled first. Why do you think that is? I mean, it would seem like as the safe lane farmer, that Global Silence is still going to be critical for Storm Spirit when he goes for these ganks.
I think it's just so that he has a little bit more lane control, but I think he should have at least gotten a level, because Puppy can just go for plays like this.
S4, yeah, he's going to pop both the ultimates there. They will be able to pick up that quick kill on G's Storm Spirit. Well worth the double ults.
Yeah, that slows down the momentum of the Storm Spirit so much, who has been relying on ganking to get farm, but still, VP's doing a really good job of keeping up with rotations. Luna's one of those heroes that is incredibly weak in the laning phase, and I mean, Kuro's playing probably one of the weakest supports from that level 2 region to level 5. Or
he has to dodge this Light Strike Array, will not be able to, and here comes the nuke. He gets popped real quick. Arteezy actually makes his rotation. He pops the ultimate.
They gotta get
but
lucky
VP,
here.
they're going to stay grouped up together and try and fight up against Arteezy. The nuke's there. They get the kill, but S4, he has the double damage rune, gets the kill on Lil, and they get the stun. 3 kills for S4. Still, though, they picked up a kill on Zai as well as Arteezy's Luna. That's really going to set back that Luna quite a bit. It's not the worst thing in the world for VP.
I think it was Matt who I was talking to yesterday, and he said, the thing that's crazy about playing against the Queen of Pain is that you know you only have 2 or 3 seconds to start a gank, and then you're dead.
Light Strike Array lands on him, the chain stuns, and again, there's not much he can do. In a 2 versus 1 scenario, Shackles doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, but S4, perfect rotations. That's that blink buff, you know? You TP to that bottom tier 1 tower, and you instantly come in every single time. It does so much damage.
6-4, 8 minutes in right now. Rather even game, of course. Secret are going to be a bit ahead in experience because of Puppey, primarily. He's always able to get that extra amount of XP through jungling. He's already level 8. Build-wise, we'll see what he goes for, as we don't see the remnants of a mech on either one of Puppey or Zai.
I think that you still go for a mech on... Oh, they actually just get another kill.
Beautiful pickup. Managed to get the silencer. S4 backs himself up a bit low, but they're going to be fine. VP are just going to focus on this tier 1 tower in the top lane. They know it's going to be a trade-off. A little bit unfavorable for them, but still. Got to be what they focus on, especially with FNG still not having his level 6.
What's so dangerous right now is that he is going to run into this timing where he's just going to fall really far behind this Queen of Pain, and what she decides to build is going to dictate a lot of what he's going to decide to build. That's why he's going to hold on to his gold for a little bit at least. He'll probably still go for the Soul Ring no matter what he goes for, but after that point, he just has to kind of hold on and wait. And it does look like that S4 is going to go for the Orchid, which could backfire. It's an incredibly offensive item, but if you just get global, then Delina gets a decent amount of farm. She can just blow you up instantly.
As your judgment at this place, God, he's got a decent amount of farm net worth-wise. He's actually second behind the Queen of Pain. Is this enough of a close gap for God to go for an Orchid of his own?
No, I think that as soon as he sees S4 have the Oblivion Staff, he should get something like the Eul's. He's pretty far behind right now. If he rushes her for the Orchid, he's going to be probably 3 or 4 minutes behind, and they can't afford to just stay static on the map for 3 or 4 minutes without farming at all. And I just think it's more important for G to have that defensive capability in case he decides to go in, especially for the late game when the Queen of Pain eventually gets something like a BKB, and you can't just rely on the global silence.
Now, pushing down that bottom tower has actually opened the enemy jungle up to Team Secret. As you can see, Zai's utilizing that one quite efficiently. We also saw Puppey and S4
they're going to dive top,
taking some of it. Jump in, Fisher leading the way. Arteezy looks like he's going to be popped here. They use the global silence just to make sure God is going to be fine. S4 comes in, silenced up. G does have enough for TP out, and there's no stuns coming out from Team Secret. So free kill and a walk away from VP.
Yeah, and that's huge because how often do we see Arteezy at 0-3-3 right now? At this phase of the game, VP are finally one of the few teams to really just take it to him and contest that safe laner. Luna's a hero that's kind of similar to Gyrocopter, but at the same time, there's a lot of limitations. The hero relies on being able to 5-man group up, and he just doesn't have the farm to be able to do so. And oh, this is going to be sick timing right now because if S4 dies to this is going to slow him down so much.
Gang comes in, they manage to get the Fisher just ahead of the jump, double drops, but still not enough. S4 manages to get the blink away. It felt like it was gonna be a really tough, like VP had to combo that perfectly. Fisher into both the familiars and the Echo Slam to follow it up, and that just didn't quite happen. Arteezy, he's smoked up. He actually runs into FNG here. They know someone is around. Meanwhile, S4 still managed to pick up the kill there on the Visage. Going back to that bottom lane, though, the Laguna Blade getting put out on Zai, brings him a little low. God has a lot of mana to jump for it and will start going for Arteezy, locking him down. Beautiful choice. They do not want to let Arteezy get off his ultimate.
And that's a 4th death for Arteezy, and although S4 is snowballing really hard on this Queen of Pain, it's still a Queen of Pain. One of the limitations of the heroes and what it makes it kind of more as like your strong hero, which is getting a lot of farm, is that she still doesn't have a lot of HP. And if you feed a 5-0 spree to somebody like a Storm Spirit, all of a sudden they jump ahead of you. Right. So he has to be so careful about how he dives. And there's a lot of different heroes on the side of VP that can punish him. There's Global Silence. DK Phobos is getting closer and closer to his Blink Dagger. He has to be really careful at this phase of the game.
Despite what Kuro was doing there, he was actually stopping his wards from attacking the tier 1 tower with the catapult. It still brings it into the deny range, and Illidan will deny that tower. Secret also got the top tower in the process. Illidan, then of course, was able to farm up those wards. Looks like he's going to be farming up the Rod of Atos, just like we saw from last game.
It's looking more and more likely that she is just going to go for the Bloodstone, but I would really just prefer him to go for even something like the Orchid or the Yule Scepter. He's just going to notice that S4 has such a quick Orchid. It's alright, it's done at 13 minutes. Essentially sub 13-minute Orchid right now. And this is just going to terrorize VP because there's very little that they can do to counter him. G's going to die right here.
Yeah, they jump in, already slowing him down with the silence there. They should be able to pick up the kill. Search, run forward, and sure enough, the Orchid pops. And G does go down. So now that they see that Orchid, it's been revealed. You said there was very little options that VP have to deal with an Orchid at this timing. What is one of the things that they can do?
They just kind of have to play the guessing game. Like, you counter-initiate wherever S4 decides to go.
Oh, Kuro. They needed a Fisher. There it is. DK Phobos finds it at the tail end of... He's actually going to get close to that Blink Dagger, which could be one of the ways they counter.
Oh, S4 is going to kill...
Yeah, they're going to try and chase him down, run him down the last right click. He managed to get him. DK Phobos running forward with the Echo Slam, managed to slow down Puppey. In chance... Oh, no. He stunned up Arteezy from that Lucent Beam. And the Glimmer Cape picked up by Puppey allows him to get out. I was going to talk about that. The Glimmer Cape, in conjunction with the mech, will give a lot of teamfight possibilities for Secret for some of their squishier heroes like Queen of Pain and Luna.
Yeah, at this point, Puppey is just kind of using the Black Hole as a threat more than actually using it. Use it in the early game a few times because you don't want the cooldown up. Because it's kind of pointless to just hold on to it in the hopes that you get into a 5-man fight. Using it for pickoffs is perfectly fine, but in this phase of the game, you're just using the Glimmer Cape.
Uh-oh, FNG runs right into S4. God's going to be there. He will have their turnaround. They need the familiars to drop. Global Sound's going to become up as well, and S4 will go down with the help of FNG's nukes. Incredibly important kill. Will slow down the Queen of Pain, and the plus side that FNG barely survives as well.
And that just gives G 800 gold. He's going to go for the Bloodstone right now. And I think this is just in response to the fact that he thinks the Global Silence is enough to lock him down. Also, he's got the Earthshaker with a Blink Dagger nearly completed, so he just wants to play for the ultra late game. There can be some repercussions for it if he decides to farm out solo, but this just means that he has to focus on his own jungle.
DK Phobos with the Tranquil Boots and Soul Ring build will spend a lot of his time farming up the jungle. He just needs another 400 gold or so, and he will have that Blink Dagger. Very critical for them to continue to shut down Arteezy, as well as pick off the squishier S4 Queen of Pain.
Yeah, Arteezy's still incredibly underfarmed right now. It's hard for him to just static farm in the jungle, or even do the Ancients because he doesn't have lifesteal or anything like that. They probably need something like a smoked Roshan, and then drop the Mass Serpent Wards for it, for them to be able to get sufficiently ahead. So what I'd like to see right now is them just go for the Roshan, as fast as they can, drop the Serpent Wards, and rely on the fact that there's no Global Silence, and that's exactly what they go for.
Yeah, but the ward is there. It barely spotted out some of the Team Secret heroes, but it was there. And the smoke up, this could be a prime opportunity for VP. This actually beautiful Fisher block, keeping two away from the Roshan pit. They're kind of separating these heroes, dodging around Puppey as best as possible and try and pop Kuro. God jumps in, going for that one. Laguna Blade gets laid out. They manage to bring a couple heroes low. God gets away with that Orchid. Oh, there goes FNG, getting blown up by S4's ultimate. Gets Illidan on the side as well as he blinks forward. Now the Black Hole controlling God while they finish up more heroes. Lil managed to get Arteezy towards the end as he's being chased down. God jumps forward ahead of S4, trying to get out of this one, but the Malphus is there, stunning him up. Uses Soul Ring for the last bit of jump. There's an Invis room, but he can't quite get there in time. S4 will get the kill, triple for him. In the meantime, Zai brought a little low, but Lil did manage to get away with DK Phobos.
That was just really good team play by Secret. They help each other out for as long as possible. It takes way too long for Kuro to die, and I think they just entered the Roche pit again. They didn't even drop the wards the first time around. Arteezy's about to respawn in 6 seconds. This is an easy go for them, and you have to go for this objective if you're Secret. It's just so much safer. Arteezy, you can't just expect him to farm for the next 4 or 5 minutes to catch up. You just have to start taking objectives.
DK Phobos, he's already making his way to the Roshan pit. He's so close to that Blink Dagger. Zai's actually incredibly low. He's at 250 HP. If Roshan hits him once right here, almost getting it. They need just a long-range nuke. FNG, he gets it. Lil, with the one familiar, jumps inside the pit, gets that kill. Now FNG, kind of stuck here. Puppey's actually going to be silenced up. Global Silence on top of that one. Illidan really wants this kill, but the Glimmer Cape's keeping him alive. Meanwhile, S4, he's inside the pit against Roshan, mano a mano, but he's got to blink away. Arteezy, he turns around. He doesn't have the ultimate. No defensive measures once here. He gets taken out for the 6th time this game in 17 minutes, and Roshan down to 2k HP. Team Secret looks like they're just going to have to give this one up.
Oh, this is going to be so awful if they lose this. G's about to get a Aegis right now, it's so low. It's so hard for them to kill him in the first place. They had to commit so much to it. And VP, I don't know how they did it that second time around, but they managed to snag the Aegis. And
The global silence still being up for Illidan, I think, is what gave them so many opportunities. And now they've just got huge upgrades in their next team fight potential. I mean, G having that Aegis, allowing him to be able to jump in and murder one person and bounce back up, knowing he has that second life to rely upon. And you also have the Blink Dagger now for DK Phobos with a level 2 Echo Slam on top. Prime opportunity for VP to really take control of this map now.
yeah, Secret just need to build up some sort of net worth on their core heroes. If you're taking a look right now, Arteezy is below the Darkseer net worth. He's just at 4K at 18 minutes into the game. He's got absolutely nothing, and there's no real prospects for anything either. There's some ancient stacks, but how in the world is he ever going to go for them at this point in the game?
Yeah, and then we go back to the fact that Queen of Pain is still, as your mid, yes, you can be a dominant force in the mid game, but ultimately you cannot take that carry role simply because you're too squishy, right? Especially with all the great initiation and lockdown from VP. That Queen of Pain is not going to be a reliable one position, so they have to get Arteezy farmed somehow, but this is really the best time for VP to get aggressive and to try and limit some of the towers on this map. Grouping up right now in the middle lane, Solar Crest already for Lil on top of everything else. Talk about a little bit the choices now of Visages. You're seeing this a lot. Completing the Solar Crest instead of going for the earlier Aghanim set.
It's just really reliable. It helps so much. The amount of armor that you can 10 armor, that's pretty ridiculous. It's like a double deso. And they're going to smoke for this. This is a really easy move by VP to make. G's got the Aegis. You want to start building up the Bloodstone charges while you can, and they know that Secret are...
Find Puppey, leading in with the Blink Dagger. Glimmer Cape helping him out, but the dust is there, and Puppey will end up going down. Team Secret, no response from them. They just have to go for sacrificial plays, give up one hero, and try and split push as best as possible because VP are really in their prime right now.
Yeah, there's almost no way that you want to engage VP in a straight-up fight. G's got an Aegis. Illidan's got his global silence up at this point. Arteezy has nothing. You just have to wait for pickoffs, and it's really going to come down to what S4 can accomplish. He's been brilliant all game. Throughout this tournament, he's had his weak moments, but in this game especially, he's just been dominant. But it's going to be rough because even with the BKB, the global silence is a threat.
They've already got 9 Bloodstone charges on the Storm Spirit. You can kind of assume that the Aegis is going to allow him to pick up another one sometime soon. Should they actually 5-man into tier 2 towers right now, or is that too risky?
You can, but there's still a lot of potential for Secret to win the fight. You don't quite know what everybody from Secret has when it comes to items, so it's risky.
Fisher slowing down Kuro's retreat there. We also have a very interesting item choice. Puppey went for the Glimmer Cape first. Still no BKB, still no Blink Dagger, nothing like the traditional items of an Enigma. He goes for the Vanguard instead, which I'm presuming, I mean, this is going to be built into a Crimson Guard, I guess.
Yeah, it's really good against the Visage. There's not a whole lot of right-click physical damage from VP. I actually think it makes a lot of sense. Puppey's a 3-time TI finalist. Who am I to question what he's going to go for in a situation like this? Because in my brain, it just makes perfect sense.
Well, there goes an Orchid charge. God's not too worried about that one. He's just trying to clean up the creep wave and keep this siege creep alive so they can take the tier 2.
They used the Orchid already on G. It should be refreshing up soon, but this tier 2 tower is going to go down. And
He actually runs forward on Glimmer Cape. They do have the dust to be able to reveal him, and they're just staying at a distance. I love this. They surround Puppey, but make sure that they're not going to group up too much for a black hole, because there is always the danger of Zai counter-initiating at that point with a vacuum, and then you're getting a 3 or 4-man black hole. That could be the whole entire fight right there.
Everybody from VP is just playing so safe right now. They just kind of surrounded him and made sure that G was in the front with the Aegis. So Secret didn't want to hard commit because you don't want to fight into a Storm who suddenly has a refresh mana pool. So you've just got to wait that out, and I think their timing is wait for Arteezy to get his BKB, which he's kind of close to, and then just go for it. Like, at this point, the late game is not in your favor whatsoever.
Lil's going to start building towards that Aghanim Scepter. We also have an Orchid being built now by G. especially with the lack of BKBs. I mean, Arteezy's going to try and build one now. He already has the Overclub, but Darkseer doesn't typically build a BKB, at least not very early on. Luna's going to be forced into a rush, but she's already so far behind. And then S4, he's already has his.
Oh, they're actually moving in for S4 right now.
Oh, he's got the Echo Slam. They have the instance done. They're going to chain lock him down. Laguna Blade, Fisher, everything being blown for such a critical pickoff.
And that's what I mean. That's 502 gold going their way. You don't want that much net worth on a Queen of Pain. It's just so easy to kill. And we're seeing that demonstrated right now. No time to respond with the BKB whatsoever. She is level 15. He still has a ton of farm, but he just needs some form of backup when it comes to net worth. You've got Puppey, who's the second highest on your team. That's definitely not what you want to see if you're a Secret fan. He's got a Vanguard and a Glimmer Cape, items that don't necessarily win you team fights.
DK Phobos, he's actually building for a Yule Scepter now. The most obvious use of that would be able to self-use it in order to get rid of the Orchid Silence. Do you really think DK Phobos is going to be that much of a target from S4's Orchid?
I think part of it too is that he notices that Puppey's not going for the BKB, so it's an easy way for him to stop the Black Hole as well.
Okay.
You're just giving yourself as many ways as you can to win the fight.
Right. FNG's got a Yule Scepter of his own, so multiple Cyclones are going to be coming out from the Virtus Pro team. They still haven't taken the bottom tier 1 and tier 2 towers, and they didn't really make a whole lot of use of that Aegis, specifically taking the tier 2 mid. Virtus Pro are getting a lot of respect to Team Secret, but is it too much? Are they playing perhaps a little bit too passive?
No, not at all. Arteezy still has nothing. They can decide to just drag this game out for a little bit longer. There's no reason for them to have to rush it. You wait for the Storm's next item, bare minimum, before you go for anything, and your team still has a lot of room to grow. It's not as if they've struggled to find items. Illidan can decide to go for a Hex pretty soon at some point, or even a Linken's to help the Storm out further. You can see G go for that Orchid before you decide to go for the push. You feel like you have an advantage, so you probably go for the tier 2, but there's no reason to jump into the tier 1 and tier 2 bottom yet.
All right, the tier 2 easily going to be taken by Virtus Pro. Secret are doing something similar here at the bottom lane. A straight up trade off with Glyph advantage is there
VP's
for
just
Virtus
gonna keep
Pro.
going.
Yeah, they want to actually force Team Secret back to the base right now. And if Secret stick around and try and take that tier 2 tower, which they are, that means free damage on the tier 3.
They don't have Glyph either. This makes it incredibly hard for them to hold. It's taking a lot of damage right now. Secret are going to filter in one by one, but VP are forcing them back.
Puppey actually surged up, hoping to be able to catch somebody, but Virtus Pro, once again, very disciplined play. Love the trade-off there. They weren't going to TP back in time to save that tier 2 tower. It would have been a very dangerous fight, so instead they just push into the tier 3. Not over-committing, though. Just take it down to about half HP and backing up before Secret can catch it.
What Secret are going to need this game is for their Darkseer to get a Blink Dagger, blink in and initiate, and then catch 2 or 3 heroes with the vacuum as Puppey walks in simultaneously with the Black Hole. And he has to get the Silencer and the Earthshaker bare minimum. He almost has to get like all 5 heroes in this game to be able to get his Black Hole off. It's going to be incredibly hard, but if there's any team in the world that I think can do it, the combination between Zai and Puppey is really strong.
Yeah, the reason you're saying that he kind of needs to catch all 5, right, is because there's disables on every single one of the heroes of Virtus Pro, especially with those, instant reaction Yule Scepters available. This all comes back to the part where Puppey chose to go for the Crimson Guard over the BKB.
Yeah, and I think it's still an okay decision. It means that Secret are going to outlast them in a fight, is what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
Like, you can outlast them during the Global Silence, but it does mean that Secret have to position themselves nearly perfectly when it comes to the Earthshaker Echo Slime. But they've got a lot of different ways to win fights. Like, 2 BKBs with the Crimson Guard on you at the same time, it's going to be incredibly hard for VP to deal damage.
And this is why Team Secret are actually going to go for a smoke up here. Enter into the Virtus Pro jungle. Team Secret are hoping to be able to catch somebody really important here. God would be a prime target, but he's actually, it seems like Virtus Pro may know, as God's just sitting there with his Remnant, waiting for a smoke to pop with that flying vision.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to have to split up. They know if there's nobody at that top lane, nobody in that mid lane. This is 100% them in the jungle, and G's going to spot this right now.
Yeah, they do have vision. They're going to start moving forward. He actually jumps to the background, going straight for Puppey. No chance for a Black Hole, but they do get a Vacuum Sonic Wave combination that already takes out Illidan. Huge kill there, and now the Black Hole is still there to be able to control God as Secret have found their opening. They're going to try and clean up more, but no one else from VP is around.
Oh, they're going to lose their courier at the same time.
Wow. Didn't have anything on it, but it's still a big-time pick-off. They blew a lot and won't be able to go straight for the Roshan pit, but it is up. It's something that Virtus Pro have to keep in mind in some of these fights. I love the choices there by Team Secret to go for Illidan with the Orchid first, knowing that he doesn't have a BKB to be able to defend himself. They just essentially blow him up right away, and there's no global silence, which means that Puppey, with this Glimmer Cape and Crimson Guard build, was able to survive through the initiation of God, as you said, and was still able to get off the black hole after the Orchid faded.
Yeah, the Crimson Guard made it so that almost nobody on VP did any damage during the BKB timers. The Glimmer Cape did the same. And VP, they need to keep Illidan alive really badly. He's really struggling to stay alive in that last fight, but it's really paramount that they get the global silence off.
Yeah, they don't have defensive supports. They don't even have any defensive items such as Glimmer Cape, so it's not like they can actually do anything themselves to keep Illidan alive. I guess what the most important thing is that they always get the initiation on Team Secret. They're always the ones jumping first, so Illidan isn't immediately countered by S4. Curl's going to be grabbed here by God, but there goes the Glimmer Cape, and G does not have the vision. They go back inside the Roshan pit, but Team Secret very clearly know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think they want to defend this. S4 is a little bit further away, and they don't have vision in that Roche pit. They don't have the best ways of checking either. So you just give it up. G's got the Aegis again, and this is going to set up a timing where I think VP do want to get aggressive.
They got to make good use of this Aegis, because right now that team net worth, the advantage is minimal for both sides in experience and gold. So Virtus Pro need to start establishing some dominance now before Arteezy is able to catch back up. He's got the BKP, Helmet Dominator. His farm is growing slowly but surely. Yeah. He's just naturally going to farm faster than heroes like Silence.
The Luna, like you said, eventually catches up. He's got a Helmet Dom BKB, but that's still kind of bad when it comes to damage. And so that's what Secret have prioritized over. Damage is just outlasting their opponents more than anything.
Uh-oh, Illidan is going to be caught here. He can't actually TP out because there is going to be a vacuum to bring him back into that wall. S4 lets loose the ultimate now and catches 3 in the process. They almost brought down FNG at the same time. Huge kill. The carry of Virtus Pro down for a full minute. And prime opportunity for Team Secret to push forward and start taking some farm. Arteezy already grabbing as much as he can in the enemy jungle, will now back up to that bottom lane, which is pushing in.
S4 is just dominating this game right now. VP, they can't afford to leave their base by themselves in this situation, because I mean, S4 will hunt you down every single time. That combination of the Ion Shell, where he slows you and is able to blink on top of you, does a ton of damage. You can't fight back into it. This almost reads to me that the Silencer has to get a Hex as fast as he can, or even something like the Eul Scepter, because even with the Hex, I think he would struggle to stay alive against the Queen of Pain, who just BKBs. Yeah, he's going to grab one right now. He's really close to it, just 700 gold off, and with that timing, I think they just go for the tier 2 bottom, maybe even smoke up, and just try to end the game. But even their high ground is kind of bad. Storm Spirit plus Silencer aren't the heroes that you necessarily want to be on the high ground. You want them to counter-initiate, so it's going to be up to Lil getting an Aghanim Scepter, so he has 3 birds to be able to go for safe tower pushes.
Right.
Otherwise, you have to go for a gank beforehand.
What about our Storm Spirit? He's got 2,300 gold right now. He still is going to have issues with the black hole. Does he go for BKB?
No. I think that the black hole is something you can't really play for, especially if you have a BKB, it doesn't matter. Right. Going for a Hex of your own is probably one of the better bets, just so you can get the Hex off on Puppey before he gets his Crimson Guard off.
So double Scythe of Ice potentially for VP. You see S4 now building into that sort of carry Queen of Pain, going the right-click damage build, Orchid, BKB, and now an Assault Cuirass.
VP's team is going to be so hard, or Secret's team, sorry, is going to be so hard to fight into. We've got an Assault Cuirass and a Crimson Guard with a mech. Actually, Guardian Greaves. That team is just tanky. It's gonna be nearly impossible to cut through that with the physical damage that VP currently have. Like, they need their Lina to pretty much become a core at this point.
And she is kind of on her way. FNG has Eul Scepter, Point Booster, and another 2,000 gold to start building into the Yags.
Okay, so the Hex is completed. You probably just take control right now with the gem and then go for a kill. The Aegis is going to fade relatively soon. They have to make something happen on the map.
Team Secret definitely know this, though. I mean, they're sitting so passively here in the middle lane. Same goes with bottom. S4 and Zai are essentially waiting for someone to show up, and if no one does, they'll start pressuring that tier 3.
The issue is that VP don't want to leave this mid area, but at the same time, you can't ignore what's happening at bottom. You don't want to waste the Aegis.
And Illidan, there it is. Jump in, Arteezer, going to be able to grab him instantly. Hexed up, though, and G in some serious trouble. He's trying to get rid of that Aegis. The global silence is popped, and G will actually jump himself away. VP maybe waiting for the counter initiation. Arteezy came forward, lost his BKB. They're going to try and chain stun him down. Zai's actually been hit, and there goes immediately. The black hole's gone. Arteezy couldn't even get off his ultimate. DK Phobos left to S4. They've already taken 2. Can they get more? FNG gets popped by S4, but S4 is being controlled by G. He gets taken out. God, Puppy, he's going to be able to get away. No, he couldn't TP out in time. Illidan, he's going to go down to the right, clicks to the illusions from the wall. Sadly, the carry of Virtus Pro falls, but it's still a great fight for VP.
Yeah, they get G to neutral, Bloodstone charges. They get a lot of kills out of that. I mean, looking at the fight recap, it's almost a 2.5k net worth swing, and it's only Kuro right now that's at top lane to defend that. He wasted a BKB charge from Artur. He didn't get his ultimate off, and they do have buybacks, but you want to force those at this point.
Yeah, one of the best things about winning that fight for VP was that it was right in front of Team Secret's base, and you can go immediately to pushing down these tier 3 towers, orchid it up. Kuro just charges right in there. There's the vacuum, but Kuro's still going to be popped by this orchid, and G has enough mana to be able to jump out if he needs to. He wants the tier 3 tower first. In fact, he might want Zai as well. Oh no, they've actually lost 2. G immediately TP's out. Lil to follow him. Arteezy couldn't get there in time for the Lucent Beam to stop that TP out. So 23-18 Virtus Pro. They need this win in game number 2 to stay alive in the International. And they do get a gigantic objective in that tier 3 at the top lane.
Yeah, Illidan having that Hex allowed him to deal so much damage. He just cut through Zai so quickly, was able to Hex him up, unable to do anything after that point. DK Phobos has all the mobility items in the world. Your Storm Spirit has a full BKB now, and this is going to allow him to not get Hex up during the Shadow Shaman timing. I would have still liked to see the Hex, but I think in this time in particular, they know that Puppy doesn't have the black hole, so going for the BKB is fine here. That means that VP just go for it right now.
No waiting, Virtus Pro already charging down that middle lane. Not waiting out another Aegis. They actually do have, is that the complete, yep, complete Aghanim Scepter for FNG. And he almost has level 3 Laguna Blade on top of that.
Secret, how many buybacks do they actually have? I think it's only the Enigma? Yeah, it's only the Enigma. Everybody else bought out.
S4 will have his. He's only missing 100 gold for it, so he should be able to get a 3-man vacuum. Nice wall on top of that. Sonic Wave goes off, but VP are still taking enough to survive through this. Illidan will drop a little low thanks to that Orchid, but he's still able to get out. Secret desperately need to try and chase down these heroes, but they can't overextend. VP are ready for a response. In fact, now they've got S4. Eul Scepter, Light Strike Array, trying to burst him down as fast as possible. S4 does go down. He does not have the buyback. There goes DK Phobos. And goes Simon 2. Trying to pop Arteezy. They get Puppy as well. Kuro's now going to be caught on top of Light Strike Array, and Team Secret may have just fallen apart in this team fight as they don't get anybody out of VP. Puppy's already bought back. Zai going to be able to get another 3-man vacuum, but Puppy's locked down by these familiars. He turns around, but God surges forward with the Fisher on top. They will be able to get this kill. Crimson Guard be damned, but they're all low. Zai has to make a big play right here. He managed to pick up 1 already, but Zai gonna get turned around up by the 3. A Virtus Pro triple kill. Team Secret get wiped inside of their own base.
And nobody from Secret at this point have a buyback. They're just gonna have to wait this out. 59 gold remains for that Queen of Pain buyback. VP don't have the strongest tower hitting team, so they have to get a lot out of this right now. They might just be able to go for a double set of racks. Even if you just walk away with a range barracks at this point, it's well worth it for them, as this is going to mean a lot in terms of net worth. After that fight alone, they're up 10k. They're going to get this tier 3 tower minimum. The tower's going to follow, and S4 is not going to buy back, so this is probably going to mean double racks.
Team Secret, 2 racks down by 37 minutes. It's rather early on into the game. Virtus Pro have so many items to pick up once they go back to base. Team Secret actually hoping to be able to catch somebody here with S4 jumping forward. Top of the BKB going straight for Illidan, but there goes that Aghanim Scepter. S4's actually dropped a little low. God turns around instead of going for S4. He wants to pick up Kuro, make sure there's no disables there, and does get him. Arteezy chasing down FNG, but he couldn't even get that much. Now slowed down by the Rod of Atos side device. They're going to try and get the damage necessary. DK Phobos turns on to S4. Yule Scepter there, and Familiar. He needs it. 11 HP, can't quite get it, but Arteezy, he's fighting up against DK Phobos, who makes a quick retreat with the Blink Dagger. S4, this is dangerous. If he wants it, he's got to play it perfectly, and he does decide to back himself away. They killed Illidan and only lost Kuro for it, so they got something, but it's still 2 racks down.
I mean, they didn't get enough out of the retreat for Team Secret to really get themselves back into this game. The Storm Spirit has a fully completed Shiva's Guard if he wants, almost a fully completed Hex. He's going to go for that. 17 Bloodstone charges. You've got the level 3 ultimate on FNG with that Aghanim Scepter. You saw the Queen of Pain blink in, get Aghanim Scepter zapped by that Laguna Blade, instantly had to fall back. They can't really stop G anymore, and they need the BKB on Puppey to be able to succeed in a fight for once. This tier 2 tower bottom is even real low.
And even if Team Secret can hold, Arteezy choosing to go for the S and Y, that's very much an item that is worth something right now, but will not be worth that much later on into the game. This is very much focused on just staying alive. This will definitely slow down the carry potential of Arteezy for now. VP are just going to collect their next round of items, it seems. G is actually only 20 gold away from his Scythe of Vice that we talked about. And Illidan completed the BKB.
They're going to run into each other.
They're actually going to go for this one. Smoked up Team Secret. This is going to be the end here. As the jump in, already grabbing Puppey, orking it up. They're going to try and burst him down. No black hole opportunities, but he gets away with the Glimmer Cape. Now the Global Silence goods laid down. Kuro's going to fall to God. And Arteezy gets zapped by FNG, who turns around and gets the Light Strike Array. They chain stun down S4. Now Illidan, he's going to be able to fight up against Arteezy as well. Picks up that kill. GG! Virtus Pro will take game number 2 and keep their hopes alive in this tournament.
Just masterfully played by them. That Roche Pit fight where they were able to keep things going. They get the Aegis multiple times on G. Just outplaying Secret when it mattered. And I mean, that was about as close as it gets. That top fight cemented things for them, but Virtus Pro, well played. And this was a team victory. There was no real standout player here. Everybody just collectively worked together for this one.
Absolutely. Virtus Pro showing what their true strengths are. Mid-game team fights and the teamwork that embodies that. Very well played. And we're going to have a game number 3, but we pass it off now to our analysts to talk about that epic game 2.
Very good. Yes, absolutely epic game in game 2. And Team Secret find themselves at 1-1. Well played, Virtus Pro coming back into that one. We've also got a new face on our panel as well. It's very nice to see you, Fogged. Thank you for joining us. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah, you must be, in one way, obviously disappointed at not making the main tournament, but on the other hand, you must be thrilled at the